This is Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk, and you're listening to the Fantasy Footballers.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from Draft.com Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. We're back. Well, most of us. The Fantasy Footballers Podcast for Monday, October 15th. Mike is in the house.
Hello.
Jason.
Ed McMahon.
Jason has been replaced for but a day. He is too busy celebrating his first League of Record victory.
Yes, his team finally came through.
All expenses paid, 6-week cruise through the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That's where he's at.
He was running through the studio like a man who had just won the Stanley Cup. I mean, it was the celebrations were out of hand.
He's not actually on a cruise to the Caribbean, I don't think. He has some fatherly duties this morning with his kids and their school. So Mike and I have got it on lockdown. Jay Grizz in the house helping us out. And we're going to get through all the studs, the duds, the reactions to the weekend. I mean, what a game last night.
Unbelievable.
Brady, Mahomes, got off to a slow start, got really exciting.
The fact that it ended where it did, with basically nothing in the entire first quarter. What could have been? We could have had 100 points.
What was it, 83 points last night?
Yes. That sounds right.
And I needed I was a heavy Mahomes investor early on. Even in the offseason, before the season started, traded Carson Wentz in our Dynasty League to get Pat Mahomes, which seemed like lunacy at the time.
Unbelievable.
And, it wasn't going well. It was not Mahomes ended the first half with his second interception. And I was looking like a dead man in a couple of leagues. And then I went and the second half started, put the kids to bed. And my opponent sent me the eyeballs. You know what I mean?
Oh, premature celebration.
No, he sent me the eyeballs after the first Tarik touchdown because he was getting a little scared.
Well, there was the Kareem touchdown came first.
Yeah, but then the Tarik one happened, and then another one, and then another one. And, well, it was exciting. So I thought it would be fun today. I threw it out to the Foot Clan. I wanted to get some weekend reactions to how, we do studs and duds on the show already. So I said, hey, give me, I was driving in. I said, give me your best metaphor for the stud or dud that made a difference in your week.
Ooh, this is dangerous.
Now, what I didn't realize, I love the Foot Clan. And do you love the Foot Clan?
They're good people.
Good people. Now, I got like 150 responses. I think I got one metaphor. I think I got one. And the one person said this. He said Tyreek Hill was like a snow day. I went to bed at halftime disappointed with just the dusting on the ground. I woke up to 2 feet of snow and no school. Right?
Which, look, that's pretty good. But over here, I got to tell you, so far you have zero metaphors. That's a simile, my man.
Is it? No, I think that's a metaphor.
A simile is a comparison using like or as.
Oh, really? Okay, so we have no metaphors. So we don't comprehend.
A metaphor you just stated is. So Tyreek Hill is a snow day.
Well, there you go. I don't even know what one is. But I asked for metaphors.
Don't you poetry, bro?
I got 138 puns. Okay, so this is more of a Monday.
Puns are so much better.
I agree. And so now I've got these Foot Clan one-liners I'm going to give you, and we'll see if they make Brooks chuckle or not. This is the visceral pun reaction to the weekend. Now, a lot of them were themed similarly because of what certain players did. Jay Grizz. Yeah, we'll get to some of your favorites.
Yeah,
Let's start right here.
Well, some might accuse Jason of not being here after Trubisky business.
Yeah.
Had himself another day.
Well, that was one of them. One of them that came in was from Johnny. He said, Truth Bisky.
Oh.
The truth. Here was another one from Jacob.
Truth Bisky.
He said, Jordan, how weird is my workload? All right, Brooks is nodding. How about David said, Jordan, how awkward?
Yeah, not bad.
This one was from Pro Palms. He said,
Pro Palms?
Yeah.
Like he's
well, these are handles, Mike.
He's really in favor of the face of your hands?
Pro Palms Gaming, all right?
Oh, okay.
And he said, Tarik, chill, bro.
Ooh.
Because must have been on the wrong end of that one. This one came in. Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
Disappointing Jared Goff performance.
Jared Gurley and Jared Goff.
Yes. This was from Kent Wyrek, one of our writers. He said, Boyd meets Gurley.
Oof.
So if you had Tyler Boyd and Todd Gurley, you were in good shape.
Yes.
John said there's no place like Mahomes.
All right.
Yeah, not so
sorry,
good.
John.
No. Fred, here's at Fred.
At Fred
Fantastico. Advance past go. Collect $200. No.
Wow.
No.
I'm just laughing at your response.
Jordan Howard, as in ow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sammy Watkins.
Seriously. What did he have, 2 receptions?
Yeah, it wasn't.
How is that even possible?
Not good. David Janssen.
What? He had a fine game.
He was okay. Crapsonville D.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Tyreek Skills.
Okay.
Here's one from John Doe. I'm not surprised that's your name with this one. Jameis Winston's uber amount of points.
Oh, boo! Boo! Not on this podcast. Boo!
Jordan, how are you so bad?
Yeah.
And then Pooper Cup.
Oh, come on. The guy got hurt.
I know. There were a lot of Pooper Cup ones, and I thought that was a little
That's
unfair.
That's not even fair.
We hold everything against our fantasy players, I guess.
Did you see what happened to Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, he looked like his season ended, and then it didn't.
Call him Pooper Kupp.
I'm feeling
Get out of my face.
You should feel pretty happy. If that's the perception, though, if there's Pooper Cup thoughts out there, go get him.
Serious. Well, I don't know. Wait for the injury.
Wait for the injury news for sure. Yeah, we'll catch you up on everything today. The website's thefantasyfootballers.com. Jointhefoot.com is our fantasy football community. You can join, support the show, get an extra episode every week, tons of perks. It's a lot of fun over there at jointhefoot.com. And find us on YouTube, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers. We're going to be posting a studio tour sometime next week.
Oh, are we?
People have been asking. And then we just had 100,000 a little while ago, 100,000 people on YouTube. We got the YouTube play button. We posted a video of opening that thing up.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then people saw Jason was barefoot in the studio.
As he's one to do.
Yeah, and then they all requested a studio tour. So we're going to give them We're going to give the people what they want. I know I've been saying that for like a year.
We should just call it a studio tour, and then it's just Jason's feet.
Oh, that just like a little teaser? Can you
No, the entire video
Can
is
you
Jason's
smell
feet.
through the internet?
Jason's feet, yes.
Yeah, all right. Let's get into the rewind.
Weekly Rewind.
I knew that Jameis Winston one didn't belong in here at all. But
terrible.
But I wanted to see you react to it.
Well, you got what you wanted.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Boo.
Amari Cooper suffered a concussion early in the second quarter. There were reports early on Sunday by Jay Glazer that the team was shopping Cooper. Jay Gruden came out, another Jay, because you can only counter one Jay's news with another Jay. Oh, I'm sorry. It was John Gruden.
I was like, why is the Washington
brother,
coach?
No, he came out and said they're not shopping Amari Cooper.
Wink, wink.
So, I don't know. I would. If I were them.
John Gruden says a lot of stuff.
They looked bad this week. Cooper Kupp, the knee injury in the first half, carted off, and then started the second half and then got pulled for the remainder of the game. It never makes a lot of sense to me when you have a nice lead, and that game wasn't put away by any means at that point, but you don't want to risk a player. I mean, Cooper Kupp was the number 2 fantasy wideout before this week.
Right. He's been absolutely dominant.
No further update there. I mean, it was a horse collar tackle.
Looked real bad.
It looked real bad, and then, he was okay. Or seems to be. So we'll catch you up there. No signs yet of Le'Veon Bell, by the way, at the Steelers facility on Monday. A lot of rumors about him returning. There are rumors tonight about Matt Breida pushing to play.
The follow-up for the Le'Veon Bell, it would not shock me if he waits to show up until the trade deadline has passed.
Really?
He's not under contract by the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a bunch of trade rumors, and Le'Veon Bell can just squadouche those by not signing his contract until the trade deadline is passed.
Full control.
Yes.
If he comes back, it's going to be a multi-back system.
See,
for a little while.
I just don't know. I think maybe a game or two. It's so difficult because James Conner's been great. I get it. He's been tremendous, especially for fantasy purposes. Le'Veon Bell, when he is Le'Veon Bell, he's still better than what James Conner has been producing. You're going to be paying him nearly $900,000 every single game. And it would surprise me still if Le'Veon Bell comes back soon and it's not just his backfield getting the 80-90% of the snaps like he's used to in just a few weeks.
Having a player as capable as Lev is in the passing game changes what the defense does. So even if Connor's productive running, having Lev out there gives him a totally different element.
Agreed.
Quincy Enunwa, what happened to Enunwa?
Injured his right ankle in the second quarter, missed the rest of the game. The MRI is coming. That's unfortunate because Terrell Pryor is also dealing with a groin injury. Jermaine Kearse.
Oh, man. Jermaine Kearse.
Put him on your radar if he is not yet already there.
Yeah, we'll get into all the waivers tomorrow after the Monday night game, but Jermaine Kearse has got to be near the top. He had a great week. Enunwa's been banged up. Pryor had a great week, but if he's hurt, Kearse is good for 10 to 12 targets with Sam Darnold right now.
Because they moved Kearse into the role that Quincy had early in the year when he was the target machine. That's what Jermaine Kearse is now doing.
Yeah. No, he's one of the better pickups this week, and
yes.
we'll go through that. More injury news. Calvin Ridley hurt his ankle, ruled out for the remainder of the game. Mohamed Sanu also exited with a hip injury, and Julio had 637 catches for no touchdowns.
Doesn't matter. He's still a monster.
He is. Robert Turbin, we'll update you once we hear more about those injuries, by the way. Robert Turbin exited with a shoulder injury. Marlon Mack got most of the work. He actually ran well, 7+ a carry on Sunday. Ryan Grant left with an ankle injury, did not return. Chester Rogers needs to be on your radar. Josh Allen, quarterback for the Bills, injured his right elbow in the third quarter. If you saw the play, did you see the play?
I did. It was very bizarre.
It was very much a penalty. I mean, it was like a double late hit that was not called. A lot of criticism on the NFL. What was it? The roughing the passer penalties that had become a problem.
The body weight?
Yeah, just the plethora of calls in general, they've greatly reduced. All the concern that was out there, they've gone way down. This past week was the least amount of them of this season. Well, I believe there were only 3.
Players are changing what they're doing, and sometimes that works into the favor of guys named Tom Brady, who should have been sacked
last night.
Yeah, and then he runs for a touchdown.
All right, moments away from the Studmuffins, but before that, Niles Paul left the game with a knee injury, so any optimism about him as a sneaky tight end?
We'll see. You did mention it. You threw it in. Matt Breida is pushing to play.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was out there.
Now, what does that do for because Alfred Morris was going to be a fine play, a volume play, if Matt Breida was out.
So let's think about this. Basically, the only people that this news directly affects is if you have Alfred Morris and Matt Breida.
Correct.
Or if you have Alfred Morris and Aaron Jones, or if you have Alfred Morris and Jamal Williams or Ty Montgomery. That's the people. Otherwise, you're locked in. You're kind of stuck with Morris. And,
right.
And if you're in that boat, I don't think you're in Gooser land. I don't think you're in trouble for Morris not doing something. It will hurt the targets. And we saw Morris be the accidental beneficiary of the injury last week.
And Kyle Juszczyk.
It would reduce my confidence in Juszczyk.
If you've got Breida and Morris, you find out that Breida's in, do you go with him knowing that he's leaving every single game with an injury, or do you just stick with Alfred Morris and get what you get?
I think I would personally play Matt Breida, and I would trust that the coaching staff has made the decision that they don't want to hurt this guy again,
right.
And he's healthy enough to play. But it's not a situation I want to be in. And I would much rather play Aaron Jones tonight than either guy.
Right.
So, guys that didn't play on Sunday, Ryan Tannehill, Dalvin Cook, Chris Thompson, Jamison Crowder, John Ross, Nick Vannett. Tannehill was the surprising. Now, I thought it was Brookstober, but it was Brocktober.
Oh.
It's Brocktober, man. What
Your
happened?
month has been stolen, Brooks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you start Brock Osweiler, Brooks, in any of your leagues?
Nah.
Oh, man, me neither.
Ryan Tannehill. What? That was just like I'm not. He's of course hurt. It's a funny situation of you're about to play the Chicago Bears, who have just been demolishing quarterbacks, and you kind of pop up late in the injury report. Not doubting it. Ryan Tannehill had a hurt shoulder, but for Brock Osweiler to come in, get the W, look. I mean, all over the place. His temperature was great and terrible at the exact same time.
2 picks, 3 touchdowns, 380 yards, but 28 for 44. I mean, the top 5 scorers on the week in our league of record: Mahomes, Winston, Gurley, Hill, and Brock right in the middle.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
Yeah. Very fun.
So welcome to the NFL. There was a point, I think, during Sunday where the top scorers were like Brock Osweiler and Cole Beasley, and I mean, it was just a weird week.
Well, the top fantasy wide receivers.
That's what it was. Yeah,
the top fantasy wide receivers, I'm pulling it up. In a standard league, well, Tyreek Hill took the top spot, but before Tyreek Hill had played, it was Albert Wilson, Tyrell Williams, and Cole Beasley.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
For the first and only time in the history of Earth, we're going to transition properly from talking about Brock Osweiler to the Studmuffins.
This week's Fantasy Studmuffins.
Oh, man. This is a funny little tidbit on Brock. First career start as a Bronco. Beat the Bears. First career start as a Texan. Beat the Bears. First career start as a Dolphin. Beat the Bears.
The Bears Slayer, Jay Grizz.
Run and hide. Brock's got your number, Chicago. And that's not a number that, my goodness, not many people have. So that was
embarrassing.
When I heard that Brock was starting, I figured the Chicago defense would be the greatest thing that we've ever seen.
I completely agree.
And then people that are mad at that assumption need to watch football. Jameis Winston, pretty much the show start of the week last week with the optimism we had. Showed up 30 for 41, 395, and 4.
Yeah, excellent
what a game.
Excellent game for Jameis Winston against the Falcons. The Falcons' defense is bad, and they kept getting hit even more on the defensive side with injuries. If you got a quarterback against the Falcons, it's going to be good.
Winston has Cleveland at home next week, then Cincinnati, Carolina on the road. You going to play him next week?
You can play him, yes.
All right. Dak Prescott against Jacksonville at home showed up. First QB1 performance since week 14 of 2017 for Dak. He's only been a QB1 twice in his last 14 games. And to explain how fantasy owners are looking at Dak Prescott, I have Aaron Rodgers on bye next week, right? So a lot of people are going to be looking for a streamer. Last week, before Eli played and before anything happened with this past week's games, I signed Eli.
Oh, no.
I signed Eli over Dak.
Oh, no.
Now, I didn't have to play him, but I just signed him ahead of time thinking I need to sign somebody off a waiver wire.
That's bad mojo for your roster, though.
I still won. But I'm not going to play Eli, but I'm sitting there going like, that's how Dak felt, right? Like he was a dud forever. But this week, he ran the ball, 11 for 82 on the ground, a touchdown, 17 for 27 through the air, 2 touchdowns, now only 183 yards passing. But, I mean, is this an outlier for Dak based on the weapons that he has?
I believe so, because even though I have undying love in my heart and my soul for Mr. Cole Beasley getting it done, I mean, that's an outlier performance. So what was he, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns? And it really was the rushing, because these are the numbers that Dak was putting up when he was a quarterback 1 every single week. He was right around the 200-yard passing range, but he would get a couple touchdowns, and then he would run for 40 yards. So if Dak is going to run again, then that will change the existence of Dak for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, and I'll let that bear itself out on the waiver wire because there's no reason to go out and get him. He's traveling to Washington, then has a bye week.
Right.
I don't think he's worth a pickup.
I'm not excited to play him against Washington.
No. Matt Ryan.
Goodness.
354-3 against Tampa. The almost upset almost came through. That little lateral play at the end almost won the game for Tampa.
Yes. If Deshaun Jackson catches that lateral from Evans, the game is over, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would have won.
Yeah, we'll continue through these studs. Before we do that, I want to thank Pristine.
Whoa, Pristine Auction. What's going on over there, buddy?
I may have swallowed my own throat.
Ron Pipe. We want to thank Pristine Auction for
we
sponsoring
do.
today's show.
Tyreek Hill signed Chiefs jersey, $62 yesterday. My apologies to Pristine Auction for that. It was just a anticipatory delay. It was a feature.
You need to tag me in, man. I'm always good for a pristine.
Well, Jay Grizz didn't jump in. Look, a signed Saquon Barkley jersey yesterday, $104. A Michael Thomas signed Saints jersey, $81. Todd Gurley signed Rams jersey, $100.
Todd Gurley.
Corey Davis signed Titans jersey, $34. A Jordan Reed photo yesterday, $18. You can get an incredible selection of your favorite players, your favorite teams, all at pristineauction.com, Pristine auction.com, the best sports memorabilia anywhere. And what I love, it's hundreds of daily auctions, so stuff changes every single day. You can find a little gem and get a steal.
Want to thank Trip Actions for sponsoring today's show. Booking business travel is ridiculously outdated, time-consuming, and costly. Thankfully, Trip Actions takes the pain out of corporate travel management with a complete solution that helps business save and keeps employees happy. Trip Actions is the first travel management platform designed from the ground up with the road warrior in mind, with easy booking from app or desktop, 24/7 proactive around-the-globe support, and incentives for employees to save on travel expenses. Companies large and small see over 90% adoption and up to 34% savings on travel spend when they use Trip Actions. No wonder companies like Lyft and Sara Lee's Frozen Bakery trust Trip Actions with their business travel. Learn how Trip Actions can reshape your business travel at your company today. You'll be rewarded just for checking it out. Go to tripactions.com/footballers, attend a 30-minute demo. You'll get a $100 Amazon gift card, but hurry, this offer is valid only during this month only. That's tripactions.com/footballers for a free demo and a $100 Amazon gift card. Tripactions.com/footballers. We got there.
We did.
We got there.
We talked about Matt Ryan. Let's talk about the truth. Mitch Trubisky, 316-3, rubbing it all up in Jason's face.
All up in his face.
25 rushes on the year for 6.6 a carry, so he does move around a little bit. Has New England at home next week, then the Jets.
Then Buffalo.
Are you?
He can prove a lot. I think it's going to be a really rough stretch, though.
You would stream Trubisky next week
No.
over Eli or Dak?
No.
No.
Not against the Pats, no.
Patrick Mahomes, 23 for 36, 352-4. I came in. Would you say I was dancing, Brooks?
Dancing, singing, yeah. You're having a great morning coming in.
Yeah, I really like Mr. Mahomes. Look, there are very few players that when they do a full sprint away from the line of scrimmage, away from like a relevant passing position, that I'm more excited when they do that because he can throw across his body and hit Kareem Hunt for a 67-yard touchdown. I mean, I think defenses don't even acknowledge the range of possibilities that can happen when he's in that position.
It's impossible.
I was telling Baby Josh this morning, too, what Tarik does when there's a single high safety is incredible because the second that single high safety turns his hips, because Tarik breaks through his guy, sprints the middle of the field. The second the hips turn, he can cut it underneath. Julio does this all the time. That's what happened on the touchdown last night. Now, that shouldn't have been a touchdown because he should have taken a competent angle to push him out of bounds. But
I don't know if there was a competent angle or not. Tyreek Hill's just too fast.
He earns himself like 30 yards of space in the middle of the field. So it's just the weapons that Mahomes has. He ended up the number one quarterback on the week. Cincinnati, Denver, Cleveland coming up. Not much we need to talk about with Pat Mahomes.
Nope.
Carson Wentz had a nice bounce-back week. Cam Newton did his thing. Andrew Luck. What do you make of Andrew Luck in fantasy? Because it seems like it's death by 1,000 cuts for fantasy opponents when they face Andrew Luck.
Yeah, it's...
4 touchdowns again?
And 3 turnovers. And look, his wide receivers are certainly a part of the dilemma when it comes to all the turnovers that have been happening for Andrew Luck. But he's gonna get fantasy points. That's all that matters for Andrew Luck. It's not necessarily something you want to watch and enjoy, and it's a good time. It's just a joyride through the streets when you're watching Andrew Luck, like Patrick Mahomes. For the most part, you're enjoying everything that's going on. With Andrew Luck, you're gritting your teeth. You have no fingernails by the end of the game, and then you go, oh, wait.
I was fine.
He threw for 304? Oh, okay. Okay, we're good.
Well, it doesn't help that he's making his hay on Chester Rogers and Eric Ebron. That's
Right.
not the flashiest of playmakers. When he gets T.Y. Hilton back, though,
It will improve.
it gets even better. So, Luck is just dependable, reliable. Russell Wilson heads into the bye with a 17 for 23 for 222 in 3 game. Another touchdown for Lockett.
Hot Lockett.
What are the expectations for Wilson rest of the season? He is a QB. The QB.
He's-
What
He's still
is he? An 8 to 10 range guy?
Yes,
is he a 3 to 6 range guy?
he is a lower range quarterback 1 for me. 222 yards, that's fine, but the yardage output compared to the touchdowns is not something that you generally see. Like, you don't see a 198 and 3. It's difficult to make those things happen. Russell certainly can do it, but I'm not trusting him to be a top-tier fantasy quarterback. He's fine.
Let's move into the studs at the running back position. Let me just say this. You want to win? Find yourself one of these guys.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, Saquon Barkley, Kareem Hunt, James Conner. Gurley, career high, 208 yards rushing. Could have had more if they gave him the ball more. What a game. I thought I was running away in a league with Saquon. Gurley outscored him. Mike thought he was running away in a league with Gordon. Gurley outscored Gordon. This is just otherworldly performances.
It's really not fair.
It feels great when you have them. Look, you focus on things. 12 targets for Saquon, game script proof. We talked a lot about him after Thursday. So who do you want to pull out of here? Sony Michel had a great week. You finally saw a good week from Latavius Murray. You finally saw a big week from Alex Collins.
Yeah.
And then my rising star, Tarik Cohen. We'll talk about him in a little while.
The Alex Collins game, I would see if people are interested in Alex Collins. 19 carries for 54 yards. Meanwhile, Edwards, a third-string running back.
That would be Gus Edwards.
Thank you. The third-string running back for the Ravens is starting to get some play and looks capable. And we know Alex Collins is always on the leash with the fumbling problem.
Just one rush for Buck Allen.
I'm a little hesitant on Alex Collins because with coming through with that performance. Latavius, the matchup was finally juicy enough. If your running back is going up against Arizona or the Denver Broncos, you're going to have a good day. That's just the way it is now.
Broncos 2 straight games, right?
Allowing a 200-yard rusher?
Yeah,
yes.
Isaiah Crowell and then Gurley.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, and I'm going to include the Kansas City defense in that list. Sony Michel, 24 for 106 and 2. Michel's great.
Yes,
he's been great for 3 straight weeks on the ground. Now, he's not getting targets. So he's a little capped on that. Like, if he got targets, he would have been in the conversation with the performances by Connor or
Agreed.
Barkley or Gurley, but he wasn't. Peyton Barber showed up again. They didn't use Ronald Jones. And then Ezekiel Elliott, nice game. Frank Gore. What do we do with Frank Gore?
He is infinite. He is all.
Yeah, what do we say? Kenyan Drake after that glumble?
He is finite. It is over.
He is nothing.
Oh, man.
He is not all. Frank Gore, 15 for 101.
I don't know what you do with Frank Gore. The matchup against Detroit. It's a fine matchup, but are you actually going to play Frank
Gore or Royce Freeman?
Oh, that's Frank Gore's at least getting double-digit carries.
That's my point.
Oh,
cover your eyes and put him in.
Curse you, Royce Freeman.
No, I mean, you try to start that Rolls Royce and it doesn't start.
No, the engine's not turning over.
No, I mean, all the hopes and now, here's the only thing I'm going to say with regards to Royce Freeman, who is a dud. Things do change quick.
Yes.
It doesn't mean it will for him. But look at the perception of Sony Michel 3 weeks ago to now. The difference of mindset for a fantasy owner. I think we all agree he's a stud rest of the season.
Sony?
Yeah.
Yes.
So things do change.
Yeah,
an injury, an opportunity.
That's what it took for Sony.
Yeah.
I mean, Rex Burkhead went on the injured reserve, simplified the equation for the running backs for New England. If something happens when Phillip Lindsay misses time, I believe that Royce Freeman will be a stud for fantasy football.
All right, wide receiver studs this week. One of the puns that came in, one of those metaphors, was losing to me was unavoidable.
Oh.
Tyler Boyd again, 7 for 62 and 2 on 9 targets. He has a touchdown or 100 yards in 4 of his last 5 games and seems as reliable as they come.
Kansas City, Tampa Bay, the next 2 matchups for Tyler Boyd.
I mean,
delicious.
Those are top 12 weeks.
Yes. Yeah, it's in the range of outcomes. He's a safe wide receiver too.
Tyreek Hill, 7 for 142 and 3 on 12 targets. Ho-hum. He's fast.
Yep.
The closest doppelganger in the NFL to Tyreek Hill, Albert Wilson, 6 for 155 and 2 on 9 targets. Look, Albert Wilson has the 2 longest yard after the catch plays of the entire season, 71 and 78 yards. He made Brock look good. Little short slant route, turns a corner, hits the nitro button, and if you want to play him, you're flipping a coin.
Yes, you are. I am curious. So we talk about things changing. This was the most involved he'd ever been in a game for the Miami Dolphins. 9 targets. His season high before this, the last couple games, he got 6 targets. Will Mr. Butthole, Adam Gase,
oh my goodness,
finally realize the weapons that he needs to use to have success? Will Albert Wilson be a more integral part of the game plan?
I don't know because
I don't know either. I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah, because Brock Osweiler
putting it out in the universe using Oprah's secret.
It was the quarterback, right? I mean, that was a part of the equation here. Is did they give him some higher percentage passes to Albert Wilson? The screen pass is something they use Wilson for. They normally give him a handoff or 2 a game. I don't know. Yep. I don't know if they will or not. I can't bank on it, but if you hit, you hit.
Yep.
Cole Beasley, Tyrell Williams.
And you realize Tyrell Williams scored in back-to-back plays.
Yeah, on the same play.
On the same exact route.
But, again, Tyrell Williams, Cole Beasley, Albert Wilson. You can start these guys next week, and if you do, you might get 2 points, 1 point. I mean, if you had to pick one of those guys to pick up, let's say you had to, are you interested in all of them, none of them? I'm not really interested in them.
Yeah, I'm not really interested.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So we'll talk more about that tomorrow, guys. There might be a player that you would rather drop now than one of those guys. But Adam Thielen, 6 straight games with 100-plus yards receiving.
Unbelievable.
15 targets a game. That's what I just want to call Adam Thielen. I mean, he's winning weeks. He's winning fantasy titles for people.
Yes.
Alshon, 8 for 74 and 2. We talked about him. And Emmanuel Sanders, 7 for 115 and 1. Almost had a second one. Emmanuel Sanders, by far the most reliable guy on that team.
100%.
Juju, another nice week. At the tight end position, Austin Hooper.
What is going on?
9 for 71.
With Austin Hooper. I mean, is he becoming what we have hoped for years that he could be?
I don't know.
12 targets, 10 targets. Past 2 weeks, 9 receptions, 70-plus yards.
I will answer in the affirmative. He faces the Giants next week, and you have injuries to Sanu and Ridley. Hooper is a must-play right now.
I agree.
Right? I mean, at that point, you can't argue with it.
And this is great. We need more tight ends.
Yeah.
In the fantasy party.
More of them not named Eric Ebron. 4 for 71 and 1 again. 7 targets for Ebron. Keeps getting it done. David Njoku, 7 for 55 and 1 on 12 targets. O.J. Howard, hello, welcome back. 4 for 62 and a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, it is Hooper's third season.
Right.
That little third season,
The third season breakout.
And if he's earning the trust of Matt Ryan, if the target counts are up there, you're going to get production every week.
It's just so strange that it's seemingly out of nowhere. Because if you bought in to the third season, okay, Austin Hooper, let's roll with him at the beginning of the year. 3 for 24, 5 for 59, 3 for 23, 1 for 19. And then just, I don't know, the key fit finally.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great game. Jason started him 2 weeks in a row, part of his first victory in League of Record.
Yep.
Let's get into the Rising Stars.
Rising Stars of the Week.
Some of our listeners may have thought we avoided this player, but we were just saving him up. He's Mike's Rising Star.
Yeah, my Rising Star of the Week. Josh Gordon. Oh, my goodness. When Josh Gordon was on the field to start the game, I shared my jubilation with our company chat channel on Slack. 81% of the snaps. Only Julian Edelman played more snaps at the wide receiver position for the New England Patriots. A team-high 9 targets. I get it. He only came through with 5 for 42, Josh Gordon. It wasn't a great fantasy game. There's still a learning curve. You saw while the Patriots were trying to come down and win the game, Tom Brady yet again looked to Josh Gordon, and it seemed like Gordon didn't do what Brady thought he was going to do, which was continue streaking down the field because he had there was no safety on him, and he just had the one DB to beat, as well as the end zone target. Josh Gordon overran it a little bit for what Tom Brady would prefer him to do. But the trust is building. The snaps are finally there. 9 targets. It's only a matter of time until Josh Gordon explodes for fantasy. I am extremely excited. If you have Josh Gordon and you held on for just hopes and dreams the entire season, I think that things are finally starting to solidify for the fantasy purposes of Josh Gordon.
On the road the next 2 weeks, Chicago, Buffalo, then Green Bay, Tennessee before the bye. Do you expect to see double-digit performances those 4 weeks?
At least a few of them, yes.
So, I'm optimistic about him as well due to the snap count. The reason you couldn't play him or you hesitated to play him is because of opportunity. The talent superseded the opportunity the week prior with the 50-yard touchdown. They didn't connect. The volume you had and your excitement normally is attached to fantasy points. They didn't have the fantasy points this week. But the snap, I get it. It's Rising Star.
And this wasn't we're holding on to the hope of Chris Hogan, who was playing all the snaps, because he was not getting targets. 9 targets, and at least a few of those were Tom Brady forcing it to Josh Gordon, saying, make a play for me.
My Rising Star this week is Tarik Cohen.
He's back.
The dinosaur hunter is back.
We don't have to do that. Jason's not here.
That's true. Look, 7 receptions in each of the last 2 games. If you're a Jordan Howard owner who's sitting there, and I'm gonna look this up real quick because Graham Barfield tweeted the snap percentage for Jordan Howard over the last
not
4 weeks.
Not good.
I'll have to find it. I retweeted it, but it's not good. And look, Tarik Cohen is doing what you don't want him to do if you're a Jordan Howard owner. So snap rate, 73% to 62% to 54% to 51%. I don't think there's anything wrong with Jordan Howard. I don't. I think that Jordan Howard is not everything that they want at that position. And when a guy like Tarik Cohen comes in and makes monster plays and gives them electricity in the passing game. Look, it's one thing to say Jordan Howard's taken a step forward and now he can catch the ball. But that doesn't mean that the catch turns into a monster play, right? You know, that's the difference between passing the ball to LeGarrette Blount or passing the ball to James White. It's after the catch. And Tarik Cohen has the ability to make a game-breaking play. It's just kind of it's unfortunate. You know, you're not going to get 1,300 rushing yards from Jordan Howard this year.
Correct. And it was –
this feels like not like a rising star, but like a what do they call a sun when it
a white dwarf?
I don't know. He's whatever the sun is that no longer shines so brightly. That's Jordan Howard.
Well,
right now.
He's supernovaed, and now he will implode onto himself and be an inescapable black hole of doom
on your roster. And this is one of the big.
You have to play him.
Well, that's one of the big questions for this week that I have for a lot of players. And maybe we'll get into it tomorrow. Maybe that'll be the quick question tomorrow. But what would you do? What do you do, players?
Right.
Jarvis Landry, Rob Gronkowski.
Gronk saved his day.
He did. But, you know, Jordan Howard has had single digits in 3 of 5 weeks. Now, he played Arizona, and anybody who plays Arizona blows up.
Yeah.
But now you got New England, the Jets, Buffalo.
Howard's very perplexing. What's going? It was
a
lack of volume. I know he ended with 14 carries, but they went into overtime, and he did most of his damage on 2 or 3 straight carries as the Bears were charging down to kick a missed field goal. In the first half, they were not giving him the ball. They finally did as they approached the end zone, and then Glumble from Mr. Jordan Howard. So it was not what we thought was going to happen.
Talent and opportunity are the 2 factors in a player's fantasy production. Yeah, he's not getting opportunity. He's still talented, but Tarik Cohen, 7 receptions. You have to rise him up. He's a rising star right now. The opportunity for Cohen is there. I think the baseline in PPR leagues is now there. So you got to go with Tarik Cohen. And those were the rising stars. Brought to you by FantasyChamps.com. You need a trophy, a ring, a fantasy football jersey.
Yeah.
If you want to be a braggart, I mean, I'm planning on multiple titles this year. I'm 5-1 in both of our major leagues. And I'm feeling great. I'm pre-ordering all my trophies right now. Let's get into the duds.
Pooped in his big boy pants.
According to all the Cooper Kupp haters, it's just anybody who got injured is a pooped in their big boy pants. Deshaun Watson, what happened? 15 for 25, 1 touchdown.
It's Buffalo.
Didn't run the ball.
Their defense is legit.
Yeah.
And he's lucky he got the 1 touchdown because he fired the ball at DeAndre Hopkins literally as fast as he could throw it. Just lucky that Hopkins has some real strong hands.
If you've been playing Deshaun Watson, he has to take on Jacksonville in Jacksonville next week. Are you taking a little Watson break?
I
Jacksonville's
would strongly consider it. Jacksonville's been rough the past couple of weeks, but I would strongly consider it because the offensive line for the Houston Texans is exactly the medicine that the Jaguars need to get right.
If Leonard Fournette gets back for that game, they showed a stat yesterday. The Jacksonville Jaguars run the ball 52% of the time with Fournette, 37% of the time without him, and they slow the game down. So if Fournette's back, they're at home, the defense gets back on track, it could be a trap game for Watson. Derek Carr.
Hey.
Suffered an apparent left arm injury in the 4th quarter. He completed no passes over 10 yards. He only had 2 attempts over 10 yards. He averaged 0.01 air yards on his completed passes. And if you look at the
that doesn't even make sense.
That's because there are so many.
That can't be true.
Yes, there are so many behind the line of scrimmage that his average ended up at 0.1. If you look at it, there were 8 behind the line of scrimmage screen passes on the left side, probably all to Jalen Richard. 3 on the right side. He did nothing. He is nothing. He disintegrated into the mist. This was an atrocious game. And with him playing like this, with no weapons producing, you've seen Marshawn Lynch become irrelevant. You've seen Amari Cooper's irrelevance. You've seen Derek Carr's irrelevance. Do we delete them from the NFL? For fantasy purposes?
10 years, Raiders fans. 10 years of John Gruden. I honestly, I can't.
Have you seen?
I don't know if this is a John Gruden thing or a Derek Carr thing. I don't know if Carr has lost all confidence in his ability or what is going on with the psyche.
Now, I just pulled up the website. Is Gruden gone yet? And the answer still says no. There are 9 years, 13 weeks, 3 days, 2 hours, 48 minutes, and 48 seconds remaining on that contract.
The best part of that website is the money made ticker.
Gruden has made $8.74 since I pulled it up. He's made $7,718,000 so far this in the contract. He is still owed $92,281,000.
Come on, Gruden. Get it together, buddy.
Look, he'll tell you the Mac trade and all that, it's about building for later.
Yeah.
And I would tell you that too if I were in that boat.
He is approaching his build like someone who has 10 years.
Who's worse, Marcus Mariota or Derek Carr? Marcus Mariota sacked 11 times, had 10 completions. Sacked more often than he completed a pass. Highest sack per dropback rate in the last 6 years. He was sacked on 39% of dropbacks.
Yeah, and that is courtesy Pro Football Focus.
And that's not all Baltimore. I mean, anytime you break records, it is one part the defense and it is one part the O-line, one part the quarterback. I mean, 10 for 15 and 117 yards. Brooks put up better numbers this week.
Move on. Move on from Mariota. Move on from Carr. You can't trust them at all for fantasy. I don't even care if both of them come out and just explode next week. I don't care.
Let's talk about the fantasy yo-yo, Isaiah Crowell. He has alternated good week, bad week every week this year, 13 for 40. A surprise that he was out there.
Yeah.
But he played in Indianapolis, didn't do much. Mike, how do you feel about Crowell?
You did not want to play him coming off the ankle injury. He was out all week except for a limited practice on Friday. So it was a situation you kind of knew you should avoid. But he's the home run hitter. He's a running back 3 who just has the ability to give you top 5 weeks somehow.
Here's the perspective that might blow your mind. Going into the week, he was the AFC's leading rusher.
Yeah. Well, a 200-yard game in week 5 will do that.
Still, you go through 5 weeks and Isaiah Crowell leads the NFL in rushing or the AFC in rushing, and yet you don't know whether you can play him week to week. And he has Minnesota, Chicago the next 2 weeks. So he's more of a sit than a start for me. It's all about your options, but I'm hesitant.
Yeah.
Carlos Hyde, where'd he go? Things have not been good for big names in Cleveland once Baker Mayfield showed up. Carlos Hyde and Jarvis Landry were capable fantasy starters for the weeks that Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback. And what's happened?
For Carlos Hyde, honestly, it's been rough the entire season. I mean, he's just been getting touchdowns, and it was one of those, you knew that the variance was going to hit. You knew that the regression was going to hit Carlos Hyde, but it has hit him right in the nethers. And for fantasy purposes, Carlos Hyde is looking rough.
Would you rather have Lynch or Hyde stuck in those two tough situations?
I think I would rather have – wow.
Can you count them both as one player and combine the points?
Carlos Hyde at least gets to play Tampa Bay this next week.
Well, that goes for Jarvis too. I'm putting them both on blast. If Hyde or Jarvis don't show up this week at Tampa, whichever one doesn't show up, you're getting the boot. You're out of my lineup. Right. You're riding the bench.
Well, it's the lack of fantasy points is contagious. Everything is contagious in Cleveland.
Right. No juice for Jarvis this week. Royce Freeman, 9 for 22. Dion Lewis, 5 for 9. Every player in Tennessee is handicapped by the ineptitude of Marcus Mariota. Corey Davis,
right now, yes.
Dion Lewis, Derrick Henry. We've talked about Jordan Howard at length already, and we've talked about Marshawn Lynch. So the other player I want to bring up is Nyheim Hines. Marlon Mack returned, and Nyheim Hines stepped into the background. Only 2 for 21 through the air. And this is a game where,
they needed him.
4 touchdowns from Andrew Luck. 3 for 14 on the ground, and Marlon Mack seems to be the guy to own there.
At least right now, he certainly does. it won't shock me at all, though, just to see. So Hines only had the 3 targets this past week. I think he will see an uptick, but I don't know if you can. With Mac back and getting that immediate workload, it's going to be very difficult to trust Hines.
Chris Carson,
Speaking of lack of trust.
Yeah, I mean, Carson, Mike Davis, and Rashad Penny.
Come on, guys.
Running backs for Seattle against Oakland.
They duped me again. I finally bought in.
Yeah.
On the freaking Seattle backfield in a juicy matchup.
29 carries.
To be fair.
But split across 3 guys.
Chris Carson did have a touchdown called back.
Tell you what. I think you should bench him this next week. I think just punish him. Put him on the bench.
For the bye week?
I would put him on the bench for the bye week, yeah.
All right.
Pure coincidence.
That's bold.
Kenyan Drake, 13 for 57. They went back to him. He had the glumble, the goal line fumble in overtime. He then wept on the sideline and then came back in the game and helped him out. Kenyan Drake is a player in the National Football League.
Yep.
That's it.
Purgatory.
Wide receiver duds.
Hey.
Jarvis, Landry. Listen to this from, Rich Rebar?
Rich Rebar.
Jarvis Landry has caught 11 of 29 targets for 114 yards and 1 touchdown in Baker Mayfield's 3 starts. 13 of those targets were catchable, according to Pro Football Focus. And then he faces Tampa this week. Look, Baker, I'd still play him. Yeah. 3.93 yards per target over the last 3 games. One of the hardest things a fantasy owner has to do is bench a name, bench a talent, right? Nobody doubts that Jarvis Landry's hyper-talented. But it ain't happening.
It's been rough for Baker. Since the miracle second-half comeback for Baker Mayfield, it has been very, very rough.
But, I mean, a fantasy owner that right now has Kenny Golladay, who's been double digits every week except for 1, and
Kenny Galladay's an auto start.
Yeah, but if he's not drafted to be that.
Of course.
He was signed to be that.
Of course.
So if you're asking for a friend, Tyreek Hill, Jarvis Landry, and Kenny Golladay, you have to start 2 this next week. Golladay has Miami. Jarvis Landry has that juicy matchup. What do you do?
I would play Golladay.
And you'd bench Jarvis.
Yeah.
So even though you said Jarvis was,
Jarvis,
you got to play him.
But you're bringing up Kenny, my man. Kenny G is so smooth. Kenny Golladay is a borderline wide receiver 1, in my opinion. He's the number 1 wide receiver.
I'm just using this to calm down. I had Jarvis.
Bringing the bad vibes. The Kenny G vibes are so smooth.
I just need it. I feel better now.
Good.
Now I have to read about Antonio Callaway. Goodness gracious. 2 catches on 10 targets. This is why I said sit him until he proves something. Landry and Callaway combined for 20 targets. I'm sorry, for 19 targets that ended up in 20 total yards and 4 catches. That's a Baker problem.
It is.
That's a Baker problem.
Like I said, it's been really, really rough for Baker.
Okay, tell me who you're most concerned about these other duds.
Okay.
Corey Davis, Stephon Diggs, John Brown, Will Fuller, and then I guess I'll throw Brandon Cooks in there, only 2 for 53.
Who I'm actually...
Sammy Watkins.
The guy I'm actually concerned about out of that list would just be Corey Davis. After the breakout game for Corey Davis, I really thought we were turning the corner, and then Marcus Mariota grabbed me on the shoulder and said, not so fast, my friend.
Watch me bang this football off of one of my receivers' helmets. Watch this.
But he would be the most concerning. Diggs, it happens. A bad game from Diggs, they pop up.
They never happen when I'm playing Diggs.
Fair enough.
Bitter. He killed me earlier. Just 1 for 9 for Diggs. Sammy Watkins, just an off game?
Well, that he is absolutely perplexing that in a game where your offense scores 40 points, that you're only showing up for 4 targets, 2 for 18. He's a wide receiver 3 with upside. So yes, you can still play him. You can play him against the Bengals, but hopefully you are not counting on him as a core piece of your fantasy offense right now.
Keelan Cole, 5 targets, just 4 catches, had a fumble. Dante Moncrief got fully goosed. I believe Westbrook had the touchdown catch.
Right.
But it's a mess there. We've talked about look, Robbie Anderson. This is why I said you can't play him. 3 for 39. You can't chase the points with some of these guys. You can't chase Cole Beasley's points on the road against Washington next week. I don't think you can chase Tyrell Williams and his 2 long touchdown. It could be Mike Williams next week. It could be Austin Eckler next week who didn't score. So just use some discernment. Go sign Jermaine Kearse. Go sign somebody with targets.
But even with Pryor out or struggling with the groin, we don't know if he's out. Quincy's injury. I mean, does that elevate Robbie at all? Just he's necessary now.
We'll see what the Terrell Pryor outcome is.
All right.
But yes, look, injury provides opportunity. Sure, I'm with you there. And then Kenny Stills, is he dead to you, Mike? 1 catch, 35 yards.
Yeah, he's just a flyer.
Jared Cook, 2 for 10. Kyle Rudolph, 4 for 37. Jordan Reed, 5 for 36.
Jared Cook is returned.
Jared Cook. Look, again, I mean, these players, it's a very simple connect the dots that lead back to Marcus Mariota, to Derek Carr, to Baker Mayfield, right? Most of our duds today, it's a team effort to poop their pants. I mean, there are big drawers being filled by all the players on these rosters. So I hope you had a good week. I hope you didn't face Stephen Gostkowski.
Oh!
In our league, he was like 20 fantasy
points.
points.
Kickers.
Goodness gracious. Brooks, how'd your weeks go?
Not too bad.
Weeks? How'd your week go?
Jason needs a big night from Devontae Adams to take me out in Dynasty, so we'll see.
How big?
I think I have a maybe 10, 15-point lead on him. I have Kittle. He has Adams.
Now, I had to remind Brooks, there was a team in our league yesterday. Now, Brooks played an average score is what? 120, 130 in our Dynasty league?
The average score, 110. 110 to 120, sure.
Brooks scored 165 points 2 weeks ago and lost to somebody with 175. 165 is unheard of by anybody but me, obviously.
Of course.
And then there was a team this week that scored 44 points.
Yeah, there was.
He's a friend of yours, Mike.
Yeah.
Do you want to put him on blast?
Well, his team didn't come through. I wanted to point out a team that I played against a team with Carlos Hyde, Royce Freeman, Jarvis Landry, Will Fuller.
That's who you played against?
Yeah.
In Money League or what?
In my Money League. I mean, there was the right concoction. There was the right cocktail for certain teams that everyone just feces everywhere.
You feces? That's new.
I made a new verb.
That's when Christmas comes around and you open the presents, there will be a little note in there that says week 6.
Yeah.
That was the gift. I mean, sometimes you just end up playing against nobody.
It happens. Hey, check out draft.com/ballers for all your daily fantasy needs. We will see you tomorrow for the waivers show.
Jason will be back.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.